On a market day, Abdul had 32 goats while Chebet had 56 goats. Chebet sold twice as many goats as Abdul. After the sale, the number of goats that Abdul and Chebet remained with was in the ratio 3 to 5 respectively. Determine the total number of goats sold by Abdul and Chebet in the market. Then B, Abdul and Chebet raised a total of 97,600 shillings from the sale of the goats at the market. Abdul's selling price per goat was 5% higher than that of Chebet. Determine the ratio of the earnings of Abdul to Chebet from the sale of the goats. First thing we do is to summarize the information we have here. So we have Chebet and Abdul. We are told the goats they owned were 32 and 56 respectively. And then we are told Chebet sold twice as many goats as Abdul. So if we say Abdul sold X, then it means Chebet will sell twice this cell here. So Chebet sold twice X, that is 2X. With that, then we can get an algebraic expression representing the number of goats remaining after the sale. So after the sale, the remaining are, for Abdul, we take 32 less what he sold, that is 32 minus X. And Chebet will have will be remaining with 56 minus 2X. Now we are told that the number of goats that Abdul and Chebet remained with was in the ratio 3 to 5. So that means that if we write a ratio using these algebraic expressions, they should be equal to, or that ratio should be equal to 3 to 5. So we shall say this one, this algebraic expression to ratio this one should be equal to ratio 3 to ratio 5, like that. Now we want to come up with the algebraic equation and then we solve. So we shall say this one divided by this should be equal to this one divided by this. So that 2 over 32 minus X over 56 minus 2X should be equal to 3 over 5. Now if we cross multiply, we shall have, we take this times this should be equal to this times this. So this 5 into this, 5 into that is that 2 minus X should be equal to 3 into this one here. Should be equal to 3 into 56 minus 2X. If we decide to open the brackets, we shall have this summarized to 160 minus 5 times X gives us minus 5X is equal to this times this, being if 168 minus this times this, giving us 6X. Then we collect like terms together. So we shall have to take this 160 across the equal signs, and we also have to bring this minus 6x across the equal sign. So if we take this negative, this 160 across, what remains here is negative 5x. Then if you take this across the equal sign, it will change to plus 6x is equal to this 168. And then when we take 160 across equal sign, we change it to minus 160. Simplifying that, you will have x, this one gives you x is equal to 8. What was x? X represents the number of goats sold by Abdul. So we can say that Abdul sold X, which are actually 8 goats, while Chebet, we are told she sold twice this number. So it is twice times 8, or 2 times 8, and that gives us 16 goats. The question does not want us to get the number of goats sold by the individual people or persons, but it requires to get the total. we are to determine the total number of goats sold by Abdul and Chebet. So for us to get the total, we sum the two cells. So we take 8 plus 16 to give us the total number of goats sold. So the total number of goats sold will be 8 plus 16, and that gives us 24 goats. That is question A done. We now come to question B, which requires to determine the ratio of the earnings of Abdul to Chebet from the sale of the goats. So we shall start by saying, let Chebet's selling price be equal to T. Then we are told Abdul's selling price was 5% higher. Now, this one represents 100%. That means Abdul's selling price will be 105% of this. So Abdul's selling price will be 105 of 100 of this T, and that is 1.05 T. So Chebet's selling price is T, Abdul's selling price is 1.05 T. We can use this to get the algebraic expression representing the revenue from each of them. If we start with Chebet, we shall say Chebet's revenue will be given by, of course, we get revenue by taking the number of goats times the price per goat. So the number of goats which Chebet sold in this case are 16. So that will be equal to 16 times the price per goat. We have said here, let Chebet's selling price per goat be T. So it is times T, and that gives us 16 T. That is the total revenue or the total collection from the sale of Chebet's goats. We do the same for Abdul. So Abdul's revenue will be given by the number of goats he sold, which we have calculated and found it to be 8 up here. Here, there are 8 times the selling price per goat, which is 1.05 T, which we have just calculated here. And that will give us 8.4 T, sorry. So these algebraic expressions, if we sum them up, the one that represents the total revenue from the sale of Abdul's goats plus the one that represents the revenue from the sale of Chebet's goats, it is expected to give us the total collection, which we are told is 97,600. So we shall say 16T, sorry, 16T plus 8.4T should be equal to 97,600. If you add these two, 8.4T plus 16T, you will get 24.4T, and that is equal to 97,600 shillings. Now we want T, so we divide both sides by the coefficient of T, which is 24.4. If we do that here, and we do that on the other side, we shall get the value of T being equal to 4,000 shillings. And what was T? T is Chebet's selling price per goat. So with that, we can now say Chebet's selling price, which was represented by T, is 4,000 shillings. In order for us to get the revenue that Chebet collected from the sale of the goats, we take the selling price per goat times the number of goats that she sold, and that is equal to 4,000 times 16, because she sold 16 goats, and that gives us 64,000 shillings. Then we come to Abdul. The selling price for Abdul is 1.05 T. That's the algebraic expression we had gotten before. But we have gotten the value of T to be 4,000. So if we multiply 4,000 by 1.05, we shall get 4,200. That is the selling price per goat as far as Abdul was concerned. The revenue he will collect from the sale of the goods will be given by the number of goods which is sold, and that is 8 goats times the price per goat, that's 4,200, and that gives you 33,600 shillings. So this is the revenue from the sale of his goods, and this is the revenue from the sale of Jebet's goods. The question wants us to find the ratio of these revenues. So the ratio will be given by the revenue for Abdul, which is 33,600, to ratio that one of Jebet, which is 64,000, and that simplifies to 21 to ratio 40. Thank you.